Hello everybody, my name is Brandon from thestockstudents.com, and today we're going to be talking about Alibaba stock, ticker symbol BABA. What we're going to do first is we're going to hop around to the news that's surrounding the stock to see how that's influencing the price action, and then we're going to go into the balance sheet of BABA to see how the company is operating as a whole, and then we're going to go into the trading charts to see how the technical indicators are lining up and to see if we can find a good spot to buy. Let's get started. So before we get started, I actually recorded this video yesterday, but overnight there was some big breaking news out of China that the Chinese government is beginning to push antitrust lawsuits against BABA. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cover that breaking news, and then I'm going to keep the old news in the video because that still gives a good macro picture of what Alibaba is facing right now. And in that old section of the video, I actually explained the risks of antitrust monopoly lawsuits against BABA. So I'll keep that in the video, and then at the end of the video, we're going to look into the trading charts to see if there is a good place to either buy or sell BABA on this breaking news. So now, let's get started. So why don't we hop into Yahoo Finance to cover this breaking news. As you can see, in the before hours, Alibaba is trading off nearly 10%, nearly 11% from its close from yesterday, which is a huge move for one of the biggest companies in China. So as we scroll down here, we can see that it's all because of this antitrust probe that China's regulators just launched against Alibaba. So what does it actually mean for BABA stock? Well, it doesn't really impact the company's fundamentals or the balance sheet or how the company is operating, but what it does do is that it just adds increased risk when you're investing with Alibaba stock, because now you have to worry about an antitrust lawsuit against the company that you're investing in. So that is why the stock price is dropping like a rock in the before hours trading. So let's just hop into Google here, and this is me, just typing in Alibaba news. So I think we can talk about the first two articles that pop up here, because I think that this gives a pretty good picture of what BABA is facing right now. Really, while researching for this video, there's only two major stories that I see going on with BABA that's impacting the stock price. So we can talk about the first one here, which is the one by Business Insiders. And to me, this is really talking about the relations between the United States and China. So right now, there's a bunch of tension between these two countries, and this geopolitical tension is leading to a lot of uncertainty about how these two largest economies will lead the world in the next few years. Because investors normally don't like uncertainty, the more uncertain the future is, the lower the stock prices will go. And because stocks like BABA are kind of towing the line between these two countries, the more tension and the more uncertainty the relations between the US and China is, the more likely that BABA will get caught up in uncertainty, and the more likely that BABA stock will go down. So this fight between the United States and China is one of the things that's weighing down BABA stock at the moment, but unfortunately that's not the only thing weighing down BABA stock. The second story, if we look here, is about the Ant Group IPO. So for those of you who don't know, Ant Group is basically like a fintech company that is backed by Jack Ma and Alibaba, and Jack Ma recently tried to bring Ant Group to the public market through an IPO. Unfortunately, the IPO was blocked by the Chinese regulators, and this is because Jack Ma made some comments about the government. But the main story here is that the Chinese regulators stepped in and really blocked Ant Group's IPO, and that's not all they did. They also began to hold antitrust arguments against large Chinese companies like BABA. And this is, I think, the most important headwind for the company, which could cause the stock prices to go down. The Chinese government really has a lot of power and could force BABA to divest some of their businesses, which basically means that the government could force BABA to sell some of its businesses, which could limit BABA's avenues for growth. So these two stories are really the political factors that are weighing down BABA stock right now, and these two risks are very important for you to understand if you are thinking about investing in Alibaba stock. So let's hop on into the fundamentals and the balance sheet to see how the company is operating as a whole. This will be linked in the description if you want to follow along. So this is the balance sheet that Alibaba released for the end of the third quarter. And basically what I want to highlight here is this year-over-year percent change, because as we look at this, we're going to see that Alibaba is growing at a fast rate. So even though this is kind of a mature company, it's still growing at 30% year over year, and that's really good. Now, of course, this is likely due to the trends that are set upon by the shutdowns in March, but I do believe that these trends will still continue. So I do think that Baba will continue to grow in future years. So the next thing I want to talk about is this cloud computing growth rate here. This is 60% year-over-year growth, which is really, really good if you're in the cloud computing space. The main point I'm trying to make here is that this year-over-year percent change is really good, but I also really like the growth of their new business avenues. So staying on the balance sheet for a couple more seconds here, I want to touch upon the costs and expenses that Alibaba is seeing. So in 2019, you can see that the cost to run the business was really 83% of revenue. But in 2020, we can see that it ticked up a little bit all the way to 91% of its total revenue, which may seem like a little bit high of a tick up. But if we go down here, we can see that this tick up was really because of the stock-based compensation. So back in 2019, it was 7%, but in 2020, it has gone up to 16%. So if you're looking at the cost to actually run the business, I would kind of exclude the share-based compensation, because this isn't really dealing with, the efficiencies of the company. It's just another way to pay your employees. So because of that, I like to look at this costs and expenses excluding share-based compensation, and you can see that they're really keeping margins the exact same, which is really good to see, because they're operating 30%, they're gaining 30% more revenue this year, and you like to see the margins stay the same. So that tells me that Alibaba is operating quite efficiently. So I'm re-recording this part right after the news of the antitrust probe that China launched against Alibaba. So here we are right here, and as you can see, Alibaba stock really just fell off a cliff from yesterday, and now we're trading at its $226 level here. We can see in the RSI that we're oversold here. We can see that the MACD just took a nosedive, and honestly, that's kind of what I expected if China ever launched an antitrust probe against Alibaba. But if we look at the past charts here, at the past trading actions, we can see that we actually had a pretty good support level. So if you want to learn more about support levels, I have more. I can put a link into the description about a blog post that I wrote about support levels. So as you can see right now, we are trading at a nice support level of the stock. So back in January of this year, we can see that there was some resistance here, but now that's become support because the stock is now dropping from the higher spot. And here it also touches this resistance level, which is now support. Here, resistance level is now support. So we are actually at a pretty strong support level, I think, for the stock. But this is the first day that people are waking up to the news that there is an antitrust lawsuit against Alibaba, one of the biggest companies in China. So I think that people are still going to be a little scared and will likely sell some stock if they do have it. So because of that, I think that you could probably wait a couple of days. Maybe the stock price could go down to 218, but either way, you're really getting Alibaba at a good discount if you want to buy Alibaba. So what would I do in this scenario? I think I would wait a day or two to let things settle down and to let me see where the price is going, because if we do take a nosedive off here, I wouldn't be surprised if we could come down to 211, maybe even below the 200s here. Now we could also see a sharp rebound back up to this 246 resistance level, maybe even this 253 resistance level where we were last at yesterday. But I don't think that's the case. I think what's more likely is that we're hovering and kind of waving out around this support resistance level of around $226. Even though Alibaba is a huge company and really well known in the world, you still have to consider the risks when investing in the stock. As we said, there are major headwinds for the stock that could cause the stock price to go lower. So those are just things that you have to consider before you put money in. So let me know what you thought of this stock analysis. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop it in the comments section down below. If you liked the video, please like the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.